G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to have a look at another game from the Weekend Replays pack from HayPro, featured on Team LiquidPro. You can catch that on the website yourself. You can download all of the games that are on there, and there are some very cool games, if I do say so. We've already put up the game between HayPro and Goody. Today, we're going to look at this one, which is between BabyK against HayPro, and BabyK just down the bottom right-hand side of Antigua. A map which a lot of people do like to see. I personally hate this map myself. In this particular matchup, I actually hate it PvZ on ladder. I'm fine with the international, sort of the championship version of Antigua, where you're forced cross spawns like this, so you don't have to worry about the third base. And that's the big thing for me, is that this third base, you try and keep this as a Protoss. Number one, if you can have problems with Broodlords off to the side, and then of course there's the problem of trying to get the fourth. If you grab a fourth, it could be this gold here, which is very annoying to keep control of, because there are just actually almost infinite ways to attack into this base. If you take this one, it's just very far away in general. Yeah, enough about me ranting and bitching about the maps. Of course, our Protoss is down here on the southern side, not walling off. This is a common feature of what BabyK does. Just also note that BabyK is not part of Na'Vi anymore, because they have disbanded their StarCraft 2 team, unfortunately. But yeah, as I was saying, BabyK, when he's doing these, sort of starts off with these interesting sort of semi-one base builds, where he'll go for a gateway not at the ramp, not blocking off straight away. I'm guessing that's because, especially on these big maps, it takes a long time for an Overlord to actually get across into your base to see, oh, there's no wall there, I'd better get a lot of lings. Not to mention, on these big maps, a lot of Zerg just love to expand quickly. So that's how we can sort of judge that particular decision there by BabyK. I do like it. I'm probably going to give it a go myself. Anyway, HayPro up the top right-hand side here, so he is able to lay down some siege on the third base of BabyK if it comes to that, and we'll see if that does happen. But just for the moment here, getting the spawning pool and then this hatchery going up as well. So HayPro just being aware that this map can have some very interesting forge cannon shenanigans from time to time. You can get some things where I believe the wall off on this side is actually across here, and then you put another pylon up here or something like that, I don't know, but then you put some cannons down and oh, it just goes crazy for Zerg. You can of course see from time to time as well the old 3 pylon block at the bottom of the ramp. Who remembers when it used to be just 2 pylons? So which of you Zergs with your hand up loved that? It was a lot of fun. BabyK with the Zealot just popping out now. He's got a second, no, it's a sentry on the way. Just actually taking care of that automaton because it's very annoying. I actually, I do that myself sometimes just because you get a bit confused, get all panicked and say, what the hell is that inside my base? It is just a critter. It can't actually do anything. But anyway, putting down the second gate, and the warp gate tech is on the way as well. So he's, everything now looks a little bit more standard, although 2 gateways at the start of the game can be a little bit weird when you're expanding, and it does look like he is going to go with that standard strategy which he uses. It's a little bit of a 1 gate expand, or perhaps you could say 1.5, given how far this gateway is along. But now a Twilight Council coming up, and we'll see if BabyK is going to hit up his very traditional style, which I have, through watching some of his replays I've seen, he actually really likes to open with DT. So we'll see if that is the plan here. We'll see how many sentries actually come out for him, because that is a big indicator of how a player is going to proceed with DTs, if that is the plan, or perhaps if it's just going to be some interesting sort of blink opening, and we'll find out if that's going to come down for BabyK in just a second. But saving up some minerals, going to put that Nexus down in just a second. Meanwhile, back inside HayPro's base, he has a lot of drones out, doing really nicely on that drone count. He's like a little bit like the old Ret, a little bit like the old Hydra, those sorts of dudes, loving the drones, loving the macro. It's just fantastic to watch these guys play if you are a macro style player, just given how well they actually perform their craft. Getting up a lot of drones and doing a great job. In fact, one big thing which HayPro does is a creep spread, which is always good to see a Zerg putting down some really nice creep spread. Just sort of waiting to see if he's going to connect the bases, of course, because Queens can be a big factor in defending in the early portion of this particular matchup. But for the moment, it looks as if he's not worried about that. He's just had a little poke inside to see exactly what BabyK is up to with these couple of lings. Does see that there is that expansion going up, has no vision of what else is going on inside the base here, and I'll be very interested to see how the scouting goes, because there is in fact a Dark Shrine on the way. So HayPro is going to need to be prepared. This Overlord is not going to get across in time to see this Dark Shrine before it gets up and running, despite the fact that the Dark Shrine does take a few years to complete. He's not going to get there to see that in time. The Protoss unit's getting a little bit trigger happy there, taking a shot at the Nexus before taking a shot at those Lings. But now, Lings have speed. The Lair is morphing in as well. That's halfway done. I'm very interested to see how BabyK is going to do with this DT opening. The Zealot just getting over here and catching a Queen out in the open. Going to put some shots on her, but she should be okay, given that there are now some more. There is a secondary Queen just blocking the ramp there. Lings now coming down as well. The Lings should be able to take care of that Zealot. And as we heard from that magical voice, the DTs are on the way. So DTs now coming through here. What this does is it gives BabyK a little bit of time to really just probe hard, get some chrono going down. You'll see that he actually uses a lot of his chrono on the next side to get a lot of probes up. So we'll see if that is going to be able to boost his economy up while he's doing some damage here inside the nat of HayPro. In fact, now taking down a couple of Lings, but not actually getting a massive amount of damage done. It looks as if we got 5 kills in total. This guy's a mentor. He's a very good teacher, so that's pretty cool for him. The third DT, meanwhile, hanging out, making sure that the third base is not there. Probably going to scout around and see if the gold has been taken, if perhaps these bases have been taken as well, because they are pretty common to see. Hey, Zerg grabbed those quickly as well, but obviously with the larger sort of Ling count that came out there, not to mention the very significant drone count for HayPro, he's not going to be as worried about the third base just as of yet. Not to mention, as we said, this base expanding over to these locations, while I did point them out, they're not always the most common places. In fact, normally you would see one here, and it looks as if HayPro is going to follow suit and put down that hatchery. So he's proceeding very much as normal at the moment. BabyK upgrading the ground weapons at the moment. Meanwhile, back in HayPro's base, he's got halfway through Burrow. We've got the Roach move speed as well, so it looks as if this is going to be a Roach contingent for the early part of the game. At the moment, there is +1 to missile attacks as well, and +2 is on the way. So this is definitely going to be a Roach-based play from HayPro. He's going to probably utilize a lot of Roaches in his mixes here. In fact, we already have a great deal of them out at the moment. 15, they're going to be able to deal with this this little attack here from BabyK, catching out a couple of Roaches with those force fields, and a very nice job there, putting down the force fields, catching a couple of the Roaches, but then not actually getting too many others, and HayPro doing a great job burrowing those Roaches to keep them alive, and he should be able, interestingly, to chase down this Archon. If he can catch that Archon, that'll be really big there. The Archon, of course, with 6 health for some reason, unfortunately turning around. A little bit of a misstep there for BabyK, but the Roaches are going to pursue and try and catch as many of these Zealots as they can. Meanwhile, just back at base, a couple of Stalkers have warped in here. We've got +2 to weapons on the way, and Blink is also just about to complete for BabyK, so we should be able to hold this off, but there are so many Roaches now coming through. In fact, HayPro is just producing quite a lot of them at the moment. +2 to weapons is halfway done, so if that can kick in at some point during this pressure, he'll be able to do quite a lot of damage, and in fact, HayPro is really committing to this, burrowing some of these Roaches before they can die. Loving that. We need to see more of that. He does have Tunneling Claws on the way, along with 12 more Roaches. HayPro going to town with all of these Roaches here. He's going to be able to really put the pressure on this base of BabyK, and BabyK, with a very minimal amount of Stalkers, is going to try and keep them alive with some good Blink Micro. Unfortunately, targeting down his own I think that was a Stalker. He shot his own Stalker. Very unfortunate there. Does happen from time to time when you are trying to maneuver around the map with as much sort of versatility as he can, but he will force away this attack for the time being. But a lot more Roaches have been produced by HayPro. As we mentioned, +2 about to complete. Tunneling Claws is done, and as we can see, the Roaches now with their very shiny, colourful hair, they will be happy to burrow underground and perhaps try and poke into one of the bases, but there is a cannon out the front here for BabyK, so he should be fine for the moment. Now, BabyK bringing in a couple more gates as well. He is definitely going to need those. He's really going to need to just start slamming out the Stalkers as fast as he can, because this Roach count is getting absolutely out of control. In fact, perhaps an Immortal would really help here, but he's not going to need that just at the moment, because this Forge is going to go down, unfortunately cancelling the +3, I think that was, to weapons. I was not actually looking at the production tab at the time, but the Roach is now burrowing, just heading off to the side. The Observer can see you. He's #1 pro at hide and seek, so the Stalkers will be able to come up and take a shot at those roaches. But HayPro is going to probably leave the base, I would say. There's a really decent amount of Stalkers now up for BabyK, so he's going to retreat for the time being, putting up a macro base, macro hatchery inside the main of HayPro, going to help out with that production capability. A lot of links popping out at the moment here, so that's going to be interesting to see how he uses those. Is HayPro going to pick up, say, a baneling nest at one point and perhaps do some baneling drops? Not as common to see that these days, but when you're facing a lot of Stalkers like HayPro is, that definitely could be something on the menu. But now BabyK cleaning out the third base here, getting rid of the roach that was burrowed, I believe it was, and then the Overlord up in the sky as well. Is now going to try and recarpet this center section of the map. If he can get rid of some of this, it'll be really nice. But now, in fact, blinking inside the main here, a very exposed main. BabyK with Hydras just now popping out. Drones are trying to get into the battle as well. These Hydras do have really decent upgrades as well. Keep in mind, they do have +2 to their weapons and +1 to armor also on the way. So these Stalkers are not going to get a huge amount of damage done. And now the roaches have retreated back inside, and these guys are going to have to get out of there quick smart, because there is so much damage coming in from the lings on the ground as well as the roaches. So BabyK trying to do what he can, still has not expanded just as of yet. He has a lot of minerals around to get going, and he does indeed get going, putting down a couple of pylons, probably going to use those for some cannons as well. Got to make sure you try and defend this front section of this, because if you get a bust in through here, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. Now, there are a few ways to actually wall this off. You can wall off with a gateway here, and then another one here, and then you have to put another building at the back to cover this small portion. But look, and then of course the other way is to just wall straight down. But we'll see how BabyK is going to do that. He's not going to start off with that just as of yet, just putting down a lot of cannons to make sure it is defended. There is of course still the possible threat of drops coming through, but as of yet, it's HayPro has not researched that just yet, and in fact he's going to be focused on getting some bases up. It looks as if he is going to try and take this base over here. Are we going to get any others around? No, not just yet, but what he has done is busted down a debris here at the front of the third base, and if he can put some pressure on, perhaps BabyK will make a mistake, but getting a couple of Colossi out is definitely no mistake at all. That'll be a really great way of dealing with these Hydras, especially with no creep around for them to roll around on. The Colossi will provide quite a lot of utility to this big mix here, and that of course means that BabyK is moving towards that big death ball where you pick up a few Colossi, get a lot of Stalkers, and just start rolling around the map. And that's generally how you do need to fare against HayPro doing this style of attack with this big Roach Hydra mix. We do have some more upgrades coming along from HayPro. We've got +2 to the Carapace as well, which is really going to help out against especially those Stalkers. But the Roach is now trying to catch out some of the Stalkers if they can, but a decent blink and then a couple of force fields to bide himself some time, and BabyK is going to hang back just for the moment here. HayPro meanwhile is expanding a little bit further. He's got this one almost done, and he's probably, I don't know, you'd be surprised if he doesn't try and grab some of the other bases while he's holding BabyK inside his own 3. But now with 3 Colossi out, things get a little bit dicey for HayPro. He's now going to try and push in here, getting a little bit worried about the way he's pushing across, separating these units here. If BabyK gets some good force fields off, things could get very ugly here, because if you don't have all of the units engaging at the prime location there, it gets very, very dicey for the Zerg. But it looks as if HayPro engaging in a very nice spot here. He's separating the units, see that? Splitting them up really nicely like a Terran splitting up Marines, and he's now in fact going to attack at 2 locations at once, keeping some of the units out the front here to try and delay this Stalker Colossus ball from pushing inside. But the Colossi, of course, with their extended thermal lance, are doing a lot of damage from afar. There are now 4 Colossi out, sweeping across all of these Zerg units here, and they are going to push HayPro back for the time being. And I would say that is probably going to be it for the time. Just for the time being, because if HayPro tries to attack into this anymore, things are just going to be very unfortunate for him, I would say. But BabyK, meanwhile, he's got a few gateways up. We still have another Colossus coming out. We do, as we mentioned before, had that extended thermal lance, which really helps out. +2 to weapons is done, along with +1 armor, and now it looks as if BabyK has decided it's go time, trying to catch out some of these units before they can get a good surround on. But the Corruptors up in the sky are going to be able to help out and deal with the Colossi as quickly as they can. No Guardian Shield here. Little perhaps bit of a mistake there from BabyK, but he is still cleaning up all of these roaches here. I think he's actually a little bit more worried about the macro, about his macro at the time being here. The Colossi finally moving out, but there are still a lot of Stalkers, and these guys are going to be able to chase down some of these Corruptors here, and more Stalkers have been warped in, so he is going to be able to chase after some of these units here, getting rid of most of those Corruptors there. In fact, I believe all of the Corruptors are now dead, but a lot of roaches have morphed in from HayPro, doing some great job with his micro here, burrowing some of these guys when they were getting close to death, but a fifth, I think, Colossus is now out. Although the others are all dead, so I suppose this is the one Colossus that BabyK has, but he's now starting to lose a battle here. He's really low on those Stalkers, and with the Colossi now dead, he is going to have to retreat. HayPro, meanwhile, saturating this base across at the left-hand side of the map very nicely. Probably want to get some gas going there if he can. And now, BabyK having to deal with these roaches trying to push into the third base. There are so many roaches here. With their 2-2, they take very little damage from the Stalkers. Of course, the Stalkers will eventually outpower these guys, given that they can resupply very quickly here. But HayPro doing a good job of making his opponent delay a little bit further. We still don't have a Great Aspire just as of yet, but just looking at the extra units popping up, we've got a lot of roaches now popping out for HayPro. He's going to bring himself up into the 37 mark. We've currently got 17 Stalkers. BabyK just looking a little bit unfortunate on the supply tab. He's currently sitting at 112 supply, or just beefing that up a little bit right now, but he has a snipe down the lair. That is very nice for BabyK, and he's going to try and retreat, but it looks as if the roaches were prepared, saying hello. A little bit of Admiral Akbar action going on there, because that was a trap, but unfortunately not getting too much done. The roaches now trying to push down to the southern side of the third base. A cannon up the top, laying down a little bit of fire there, catching some of the roaches in a force field and blasting them away. A Colossus now out, along with some force fields from these sentries. Should be okay in defending against this, but HayPro looking very, very menacing with this big force out, and now it looks as if he is going to try and engage here. Perhaps wants to move away, because this is getting to be a very big ball here from BabyK, but now he is going to find this fourth base at the gold. This Nexus is not going to complete, going to use those roaches, whatever it takes, cancels the Nexus. Very good work there from HayPro to make that cancel. He's now also expanding up to the top left-hand side. The natural expansion for HayPro is now devoid of minerals. The main also gone, so he's going to be get those transfers going. I think he's already transferred a lot of those drones across to the other bases, but still mining nicely at the third here. The Hydralisk Den, I don't think we're going to see too many more Hydras just at the moment, because there are going to be a few more Colossi coming out on the map. Not to mention the creep spread of HayPro has been decimated, unfortunately, due to BabyK moving around the map, but Roach is almost getting a perfect surround on these Protoss units here. BabyK caught out of position quite a lot. No Guardian Shield just as of yet. He's and no force fields as well to try and hold back some of these Roaches. There is a force field there, not actually helping out too much, but BabyK with the two Colossi is really dealing a lot of damage against those Roaches. I don't think HayPro is too phased about that, though. Just have a look at the production tab. We've currently got him bringing in another 18 Roaches, so he's going to bring that force of Roaches back up to 46, doing a great job with that. These guys are just patrolling around here trying to cover this fourth base. A little bit interesting to see them not taking part in the festivities over in the middle. But speaking of which, BabyK caught out again. Unfortunately, these units are probably going to get destroyed, because there are so many Roaches here. With the Colossi now gone, the only forces left are the Stalkers with some nice blink micro here. BabyK is keeping some of them alive, but still more and more Roaches now popping out from HayPro. Probably needs to see a bit of a switch from BabyK into some Immortals if he can, because Immortals would, of course, rip apart these units here. They will get +2, which means they'll do, I believe it's 65 damage against the Roaches. BabyK are now almost losing another Colossus, and in fact the Roaches are just going to bypass the Stalkers and try and catch up with the Colossus, taking it down. And BabyK in a lot of strife right now. He does have another Colossus on the way, but his mining is the problem here. We've now got him on 68 workers. He's got that gold up. I'm just questioning how long this is going to last, especially when all of these Stalkers are being absolutely destroyed by those Roaches in the middle. A little bit oversaturated here, but that's not too bad. But the Roaches now finding that gold base up. The probes are going to go down, and it looks as if HayPro is just going to have his way with this gold base. The Stalker's saying, no, I cannot deal with that. they're going to pull back just for the moment here. Going to probably try and get a little bit of damage on the roaches, and the probes now coming into the fight saying, hey boys, we can fight as well. And the probe count, just look at that, down to 54 for BabyK. BabyK normally with a really nice probe count. I've normally seen him with doing a really great job there, but now the units on the high ground doing a good job cleaning up some of the roaches, but the Colossus is going to be the big thing here. If he can keep that alive, that could see BabyK stay in the game. I'm just a little bit worried about these bases over here. HayPro sitting at the 75 drone mark, doing a great job with that big amount of drones. And now we can see BabyK trying to push back some of this roach force. A secondary force off to the side, going to move through as well. Looks as if they're going to try and surround the Colossus, and they will actually catch it out of position, taking down the Colossus, but some DTs are in the mix. BabyK doing whatever he can to try and deal with this massive roach force. And now the roaches still on their 2-2. No extra upgrades for them just yet. In fact, I'm not even sure if there is a hive just yet, but the gold base is definitely going to go down. A Colossi could even go down as well. BabyK in a lot of strife here. The natural expansion now gone. He's got his third base still, but that is just not enough. And I think this could almost be the end of BabyK here. He's unfortunately just not had enough to deal with this very impeccable micro from HayPro. Look at this again. More roaches just about to come into the rest of the group just in the center of the map here. Still spreading creep, doing a nice job pushing it across the left-hand side so we can support this base over here along with the one up the top side as well. And now it looks as if BabyK is starting to starve out. Unfortunately, the minerals at the third getting a little bit low here. Baby sitting on 88 supply to the 189 of HayPro, and HayPro looking to move in perhaps with a bit more of a death push. The roaches off to the side still patrolling here. They're having a fun time just marching across from here to here. They're like goldfish. They cannot remember what they saw there last time. And the Nexus does go down, so that gold is now finally destroyed for HayPro, and now with some nice micro, he should be able to take out the rest of this force. I'm a little bit surprised he's not attacking into this. It's not as if BabyK has a massive amount of units there to deal with that. And HayPro just looking to probably, yep, he's actually got to switch into mutas. 12 mutas on the way. This is going to allow HayPro to just come by, say hello to the probes, get rid of them, and then it will be definitely GG. And we're just going to wait to see once those mutas pop out. Looks as if BabyK is going to try and prepare for a final push here, getting in a couple of sentries to try and deal with whatever he can here, but I think he's not going to get too far. Colossi are going to march up the front veranda of this base here, come inside the top position here, going to deal with this queen, perhaps at least this hatchery, but now the mutas are out. These mutas flying across, none of that, thank you very much. They will take care of the Colossi, or should be able to, if they try and step inside the base again, and the roaches doing a great job just pushing across here. A couple of force fields going up, keeping some of the roaches out of the battle. Things looking very good for HayPro here. The mutas soaking up a lot of the damage. The Colossi just about to go down. In fact, two of them now down, one left over. Blink inside the main here. a little bit of a funny play here from BabyK. He's going to just play a bit of keep away for the moment, but unfortunately this is not going to go his way at all. Roach is trying to march back inside. In fact, catching some of the stalkers after they have blunk away. But BabyK just staying in and is just going to try and get what damage he can, but there is no way that he's going to win this one. HayPro expanding again to the top left-hand side, and I would say that is going to be it, but we'll see. BabyK still just building a few more units here. He has brought in a few more minerals from this base. Technically speaking, of course, there is a Nexus in this total amount. Oh, is there? No, sort of. I think, yeah, there's just enough for a Nexus here, so if you can pull some sort of ridiculous miracle, perhaps an incredible miracle out, he could be able to deal with this, but I don't foresee that happening. Roaches, Lings, and Mutas now finally looking to push inside. BabyK with a very mega sentry stalker force trying to defend against this. We'll segment a couple of the roaches there. They're going to burrow, though. They're not afraid of anything. They are just burrowing and pulling out there. Very nice work from HayPro there. He's done a great job of his macro, of course, on this map, taking bases all over the place, which are very far away from his opponent, meaning that BabyK was not able to get too much damage there without the presence of Warp Prisms. And now BabyK, unfortunately, again, sacrificing one of his own stalkers to Aya. And now it looks as if he is going to go down. The Roach is finishing off the rest of the Stalkers. Probe's now done on the minerals. That is all gone, done and dusted, and that is probably going to be the end of this game here. great play from HayPro, and of course we've seen BabyK doing a very interesting opening there with that sort of 1.5 gate expand into DTs, not actually getting too much damage done with the DTs, but then switching into his standard Blink Archon play, which I have seen him do quite a lot. But that is the end of that, and thank you guys for watching. That was a great game there from HayPro, utilizing his amazing macro to keep up the pressure with quite a lot of roaches. In fact, it was just a massive, perhaps a hotel of roaches. I'm thinking that's the collective now for roaches. Just by the way, we had an interesting little Twitter conversation about what is the collective now for Broodlords. Decided it's a fever, thanks to Blue Moon SC, suggesting that one as a fever of stingrays is the collective now for them. So I figure that works for Broodlords. But I hope you guys had a lot of fun watching that one. Make sure you stay tuned to the channel and subscribe and say hello on Twitter and all that sort of stuff. And I'll catch you guys next time. Cheers.